Tuning in after the live, please give me just about 60 seconds as this is going to be a very, very informative live. As you can see, I've got the 34-page PDF from Annalisa Torres's decision from July 13th of this year, where Ripple gained a partial victory as they said the sales of XRP did not constitute a security or investment contract if sold to retail investors like me and you. But as we know, there's a gray area because it was only a partial victory. And there's left to be a lot of speculation here about what happens with institutional investors. Well, we won't have any kind of speculation here. We're going to unpack the 34-page PDF together, and there will be no speculation. So if you take the time here today to share this, but to also get a little bit of education here so you can understand what's actually going on in the lawsuit, so that even if you're trying to watch somebody else, if you're trying to figure it out for yourself what exactly is going on, you have the proper information, and this is the best way to do it. If you have the information in front of you, and we're going to unpack the PDF, so we're not going to leave it up for discussion, we're not going to leave it up for debate, and that's a better view. I'd rather you see a tree, but we're not going to leave it up for debate. We're going to actually go through the facts, and I've heard a lot of people speculating on what's actually going on here. But we know institutional investors, it can still constitute a security in some cases, as far as an investment contract, but we don't know how severe it is. But we're going to find out very quickly here as we divulge into this. I don't think this will be a very popular live like we've been having, only because more people will be fascinated with the fact that XRP is up another 5% today, or the fact that we need to, where do we buy, or what. All that stuff's important. But this kind of constitutes the fact that this takes precedent, because if we own XRP, or if we're looking to own XRPs, we need to get an understanding of the institutional investors. And I thank Steve for sending me this, because it kept me from having to do some research myself. And it's allowing me to do this and get it out in a prompt fashion. So please hit that like button if anybody's joining. I would greatly appreciate it. But I'm going to get into it right now. I just wanted to open up the chat. But I'm not gonna talk to anybody or anything like that for now. I just want to go through this. I don't even have chat turned on here, but I put it on my phone for in the future. But I want to get going here, and then if anybody decides to join, I'll be more than appreciative to talk to everybody. At some point, I'll say hi to everybody and introduce everybody to everybody, because I like to talk to everybody, but we need to get going here. If you're watching after, please hit that like button. If you enjoy my work, you can always join Tom's Army, or you can send a super chat if you're watching this after or during for the time I put in. So this is official document number 874. So good early evening, 4:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Sunday, July 16th, 2023. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So, just as we know, we're at about 74.6 on the charts. But right now, this takes precedent because we need to know exactly what's inside of this 34-page document, and I couldn't think of a better way to unpack it than with my closest friends. So, as we know, this is official document number 874, filed on July 13, 2023. This is page 1 of 34. It was filed in the United States District Court, Southern District of New York. Securities and Exchange Commission plaintiff against Ripple Labs, Inc., Bradley Garlinghouse, and Christian A. Larsons are the defendants. And this is Annalisa Torres, District Judge. So, here we go. Plaintiff, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, brings the action against defendants Ripple Labs, Inc., Ripple, and two of its senior leaders, Bradley Garlinghouse and Christian A. Larson, alleging that defendants engaged in the unlawful offer and sale of securities in violation of Section 5 of the Securities Act of 1933, the Securities Act 15 U.S. I'm not going to read through that stuff. I'll let you guys read through this kind of stuff just to save time, and I'll just go into from Securities Act. The SEC also alleges that Garlinghouse and Larson aided and abetted Ripple Section 5 violation. Before the court are the parties, cross motions for summary judgment. For the reasons stated below, the SEC's motion is granted in part and denied in part, and defendant's motion is granted in part and denied in part. So, factual background. This is page 2 of 34. So, factual background. A, development of the XRP ledger and the founding of Ripple in 2011 and early 2012 Arthur Britto, Jed McCabe, and David Schwartz developed the source code for cryptographically secured ledger, or a blockchain, which is now known as the XRP ledger. They aim to create a faster, cheaper, and more energy-efficient alternative to the Bitcoin blockchain, the first blockchain ledger, which was introduced in 2009. Ledger launched in 2012. Its source code generated a fixed supply of 100 billion XRP. XRP is the native token of the XRP ledger, and the XRP ledger requires XRP to operate. Each unit of XRP is divisible into 1 million drops, and each unit or drop of XRP is fungible with any other unit or drop. In 2012, Britto defendants Larson and McCaleb founded Ripple. Larson became Ripple's CEO, a position he held until December 2016. Of the 100 billion XRP generated by the XRP ledger's code, the three founders retained 20 billion for themselves, including 9 billion for Larson, and provided 80 billion XRP to Ripple. The founder did not sell any XRP before the launch of the XRP ledger, and Ripple never owned the 20 billion XRP retained by the three founders. Since its founding, Ripple's mission has been to realize an internet of value by using technology to facilitate the transfer of value across the internet. Specifically, Ripple seeks to modernize international payments by developing a global payment network for international currency transfers. For instance, Ripple developed a software product called RippleNet, which allows customers to clear and settle cross-border financial transactions on mutually agreed upon terms. One feature of RippleNet is known as an on-demand liquidity. ODL facilitates cross-border transactions by allowing customers to exchange fiat currency for XRP and then the XRP for another, or for example, US dollars for XRP and then XRP for another fiat currency. For example, Mexican peso. Like ODL, some but not all of Ripple's products and services rely on the XRP ledger and XRP. The XRP ledger is based on open source software. Anyone can use the ledger, submit transactions, host a node to contribute to the validation of transactions, propose changes to the source code, or develop applications that run on the ledger. Other developers have built software products that use the XRP ledger, such as payment process applications. Ripple has also funded companies as part of its Xspring initiatives to incentivize the development of other use cases on the XRP ledger. I'll acknowledge everybody when we get through page 5. And this is page 4 of 34. B. Defendant sales and distribution of XRP. At all times before the end of 2020, Ripple owned between 50 and 80 billion XRP. Although the parties dispute the specific dollar amount and details, they've agreed that from 2013 through the end of 2020, Ripple engaged in various sales and distribution of XRP. First, Ripple, through wholly owned subsidiaries, sold XRP directly to certain counterparties, primarily institutional buyers, hedge funds, and ODL customers. And if anybody's actually watching, if you could hit that like button, I would greatly appreciate it. And also share this content if you would. It would mean a lot to me. I don't think this is going to be a popular update and as a whole as a live, but it's a very important one. And that's just my personal opinion. So if you're watching this after, I commend you for watching this. Pursuant to written contracts, the institutional sales, the SEC alleges that Ripple sold approximately 728.9 million of XRP in these institutional sales. Second, Ripple sold XRP on digital asset exchanges programmatically or through the use of trading algorithms, the programmatic sales. Ripple's XRP sales on these digital asset exchanges were blind bid/ask transactions. Ripple did not know who was buying the XRP, and the purchasers did not know who was selling it. The SEC alleges that Ripple sold approximately 757.6 million of XRP in programmable sales. Ripple used the proceeds from the institutional and programmatic sales to fund its operation. Ripple also distributed XRP as a form of payment for services. Other distributions, for instance, Ripple distributed XRP to its employees as a form, and this is page 5, form employee compensation. Ripple also distributed XRP in conjunction with its Xspring initiative to fund third parties that would develop new applications for XRP and the XRP ledger. In sum, the SEC alleges that Ripple recognized revenue of $609 million from its distribution of XRP to individuals and entities in exchange for services. In addition to Ripple's sales and distributions, Larson and Garlinghouse offered and sold XRP in their individual capacities. After stepping down as CEO of Ripple in December 2016, Larson became the executive chairman of Ripple's board of directors, a position he currently holds. From at least 2013 through 2020, Larson sold XRP on digital asset exchanges programmatically and made at least $450 million from his sales. Garlinghouse was hired as Ripple's COO in April 2015. After Larson stepped down as CEO, Garlinghouse became CEO effective January 1st, 2017, a position he currently holds. From April 2017 to 2020, Garlinghouse sold XRP on digital asset exchanges. The SEC alleges that Garlinghouse sold approximately $150 million in XRP during this period. Garlinghouse has also received XRP as part of his overall compensation from Ripple. Defendants did not file a registration statement as to any offers or sales of XRP. Ripple did not publicly file any financial statements or other periodic reports, nor did it make any EDGAR filings with the SEC for Ripple or XRP, such as Forms 10Q, Form 10K, or Form 8K relating to XRP. That's just lazy. That's just lazy. Why would you even give them any ammo like that? That's just stupid. That's like us buying a car and not getting a fucking registration. Like, come on now. Wow, 28 people watching, 22 likes. Make sure to hit that like button. I greatly appreciate that so much. Robert Higgins, welcome in. Harvey Boy, welcome. Hit that like button. Indeed, show up for the king of YouTube. Yes, sir. T.I., welcome in. I appreciate you. Roger, even better days ahead. Indeed. Paola, welcome in, my friend. Listen to this man. Yeah, yes, please do. Andrew Morgan, what happened to 79 cents? What do you mean? What happened to 65 cents? We're within a pattern formation. There's no guarantee where it goes. Nobody called for 79 cents. Nobody called for anything. We're just trying to set a pattern formation. I suggest you watch my previous update until we get to the next. Crypto Scrooge, welcome in. How's it going? So XRP shot up nicely. It did shoot up very nicely. Shot up very nicely. But one of the things I've noticed is, again, no, I didn't buy more. No. No, all you have to do is watch my previous updates or any of my content. You would know I did not buy more. I have 20% on buying if it goes below 346 again. Other than that, I'm good. I've already got my allotment I need. John, welcome in. Jeff, hold on tight. Good afternoon from Michigan. Welcome in, Jeff. Andrew, no, yeah, 6. I was just letting anybody know. They got to watch the earlier content because I don't really have a lot of time to talk about all this stuff. We got to go through this, guys. I didn't need to buy 6. I understand you told me to buy, but I didn't need to buy. See, let me just divulge real quick. For anybody who's new, I already bought mine at an average of 34.6. I already have everything I need. XRP, XLM, XDC, DGB, ZIL, everything that I needed. But when XRP goes up, I don't buy it at elevated prices because I bought it at a price that I thought was appropriate. Now, if it goes 20% below it, I'm only buying it to add value. That's it. Right now, I use the time to buy HBAR because it's cheap. It hasn't had the run XRP has. After this, I'll take the time to buy Casper and Algo. But I don't need to buy XRP. I've already got over 12,222 XRP tokens to go along with everything else I've bought. And we do it in a different way. So I know what I'm doing. And I try to give it to everybody with positivity and with facts. But like on days like today, I don't have time to really explain it, but I have to do it at least once. So thank you, 6. I appreciate that. But we got to get into this. But this part was just lazy by Ripple not putting in these forms. Like I said, this is like buying a car and not filing for insurance. I mean, see, defendants XRP marketing team or campaign. The SEC alleges that in 2013, defendants began extensive years-long marketing efforts representing they would search for purported use and value for XRP and casting XRP as an opportunity to invest in those efforts. The SEC points to a wide range of statements. Whoops, what happened there? Including information, brochures, internal talking points, public blog posts, statements on social media, video interviews with various Ripple employees, and more defendants dispute the SEC's factual narrative and argue that the SEC cherry-picked excerpts from documents with many authors and from public statements of many speakers made at many points across an 8-year period of time to many audiences. Since at least 2013, Ripple has prepared and distributed documents that describe the company's operation, the XRP trading market, and the XRP ledger. For example, in 2013 and 14, Ripple created 3 brochures: a Ripple for the Gateway brochure, a Ripple primer, and a deep dive for financial professionals. These documents were distributed publicly to prospective and existing XRP investors and outline, among other things, the relationship between XRP and Ripple business model. Ripple circulated versions of the Gateway brochure to more than 100 third parties. The versions of the Gateway brochure, the primer had widespread distribution, was posted on Ripple's website and sent to over 100 people. So, like I said, it was just lazy not to file out. So don't allow them to cherry pick it. I'm sure they do things different now, but you never want to allow somebody a chance to cherry pick something. Just do the proper paperwork. That's why you do your taxes. Even if you don't agree with it, don't give the government a reason to come after you for crypto. I know it's not you shouldn't technically have to do it, but guess what? Are you willing to go to jail to fight for it? Are you willing to have to pay a huge fine? Ripple may be able to do that. We might not. Page 7 here. 7 of 34. Ripple began to publish on its website quarterly XRP market reports, which were intended to provide clarity and visibility about Ripple's market activities. Ripple and its senior leaders used a variety of social media platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and XRP Chat, an online forum described as the largest XRP crypto community forum to communicate about XRP. In Ripple officials also spoke in interviews about the company and its relationship to XRP. For instance, Larson gave interviews in which he discussed XRP, and Garlinghouse was interviewed by media outlets such as the Financial Times, Bloomberg, and CNBC, spoke with organizations like the Economic Club of New York, and participated at conferences such as DC FinTech, in which he described Ripple's operations and the XRP market. Defendants' receipt of legal advice about XRP offers and sales. In February 2012, before the XRP ledger was publicly launched, Ripple's founders, including Larson, received from the Perkins Coie LLP law firm a memorandum which sought to review the proposed product and business structures, analyze the legal risks associated with Ripple, and recommend steps to mitigate these risks. The memorandum analyzes, among other things, the legal risk associated with selling XRP. Specifically, it states that if sold to investors, XRP tokens are likely to be securities. Interesting. And to the extent that the founder's issuance of XRP does not involve an investment of money, there is low risk that XRP will be considered an investment contract. In October 2012, that's interesting. In October 2012, Ripple, Larson, and others received another memorandum from Perkins Coie, which sought to review the proposed features of the Ripple network and XRP to provide recommendations for mitigating relevant legal risk. So they've done homework. They've tried in some regards. Nestor, $10,000 XRP will happen soon, my friend. That would be that's about a 1.15 quadrillion market cap. So let's be realistic here. I'm not a fudster. We have a $1.16 trillion market cap for crypto. For XRP to be $10,000 per token, it would have to be a 1.1 quadrillion dollar market cap. So let that sink in. We're not even at 1.2 trillion. You should be looking for 5, 10, 50. We might be able to push 50 or 100. But I mean, talking 10,000. I mean, I've seen stranger things, but we would have to first wipe out 95 to 98% of cryptocurrencies. So let's continue. Provide recommended. High time will still got money to invest in XBars. HRB a better bet for now. It's burning a hole in my pocket. Hey, you should be tuning in on FOMO Fridays. It's only $50 a week. We've done 8 weeks. 8,000 tokens we bought in 8 weeks for $400 together here on FOMO Fridays live. So yes, it's a great investment, and right now I think it's a better one because XRP's had such a big run and HBAR's been in the dirt. Provide recommendations for mitigating relevant legal risks. So now that memorandum states that although we believe that a compelling argument can be made that XRP tokens do not constitute securities, and look at H-bar 2 to answer that question. Partnerships with Google and Microsoft, that's all I'm going to say. Under federal securities laws, given the lack of applicable case law, we do, and with the AI front, we believe that there is some risk, albeit small, that the SEC disagrees with our analysis. The memorandum further states that the more that the founders and Ripple promote XRP as an investment opportunity, the more likely it is that the SEC will take action and argue that the XRP tokens are investment contracts. Larson reviewed both the February and the October 2012 memoranda and discussed them with Perkins Cole attorneys. Both memoranda analyze XRP under the Supreme Court's holding in SEC versus W.J. Howey, which outlines the standard for an investment contract. So now part 2, procedural background. On December 22nd, 2020, that's a good day because it's 222. That's a sign of the angel. So this was meant to happen for a reason. The SEC commenced this action. An amended complaint was filed on February 18, 2021. Fact discovery closed on August 31st, 2021. CECF number 213. And expect discovery concluded on February 28, 2022. On March 11, 2022, the court denied the SEC's motion to strike Ripple's affirmative defense that it lacked. Notice that its conduct was in violation of law and contravention of Ripple's due process. That same day, the court also denied Garlinghouse and Larson's separate motion to dismiss. The court granted in part and denied in part the parties' motions to preclude expert testimony. Before the court are the parties' cross motions for summary judgment filed on September 13, 2022. The court has also reviewed amicus briefs from Accredify, Inc., the Blockchain Association, ECF number 706, the Chamber of Digital Commerce, Coinbase, Cryptillion Payment Systems, the Crypto Council for Innovation, the New Sports Economy Institute, Paradigm Operations, Philip Goldstein and the Investor Choice Advocates Network, Reaper Financial, Spend the Bits, Tap Jets, Valhill Capital, Verideo, and XRP holders Jordan Deaton, James L. Lamonte, Maya Lamonte, Tyler Lamonte, Mitchell McKenna, and Christina Warner. So now let's go into the discussion. Anybody who's still tuning in, it's tremendous that you're watching because I guarantee it. This is not the most, this is not the sexiest thing, but if you're an XRP holder considering XRP, or if you want to be an XRP holder, this is simply the most important thing you could read. But as the old saying goes, or my saying goes, when the knowledge is out there, we often skip past it. When the easy dollar looms, we're so much to burn a pocket in our hole, or burn a hole in our pocket. So basically, if we want the knowledge to understand what we're doing, the information's out there. And this is Exhibit A. But most won't look at it because it takes time to read it. It takes time to watch this. This will probably take over an hour. But we're so easy to spend our money on a big pump up to 75 or 90 cents. Not buying in a consolidatory phase, but only buying in because of the news that came up, but not understanding and unpacking it. It's the biggest problem with most people in society now. We don't know how we got from cause to effect. You know, I was very lucky when I was young. Somebody I didn't even know told me. We were at recess or something when I was very young in elementary. And it must have been one of the teachers outside. But everybody went running to go see what happened. And I was about to go and the person said, you know, if you figured out how this happened, maybe somebody got into a fight or something happened. He said, if you figure out how you got to that point, you'll never have to ask a question or some crap like that. Not crap, but something wise like that. So I didn't know what he meant, but what he was talking about is back engineering something. So if somebody gets shot, or if somebody gets in an argument, or somebody gets divorced, or somebody buys XRP, if you unpack the reasons they've done it and you can find a logical argument, you know, maybe you get a better understanding. So if you're watching my channel, if you unpack what I've done, start from day one and see the evolution. And you'll see that I actually understand my craft and I am very passionate about it. So that's the best advice I can give you. Don't just buy XRP, understand why you want to own it. Unpack it. Thank you, Crypto Scrooge. I appreciate that. John London, I would not mind it either. I would not mind it either, honestly. And you guys all see XLM's packed at the hip with XRP, and now you understand what I always said. They move together. Hey, Six, thank you so much for the $5. I genuinely am always in awe when somebody sends a donation with their hard-earned money. It catches me off guard. That's why you'll very often hear me not talk about it. I don't like to push it. I'll just say if you want to show support, you can join Tom's Army. You know, it's a struggle out there right now for everybody. The cost of living's gone up. The U.S. dollar's gone below, you know, the parity of 1-to-1. But I appreciate that, and thanks for the good job, Tom. Thanks for all your hard work and dedication. Hey, thanks for the tough questions, too, because I know you might know the answers, but when you ask them and I have to respond, it allows everybody who's watching and everybody who might tune in later to get an understanding of who I am. So, legal standard this is the discussion. A, summary judgment. Summary judgment is appropriate where the records show that there is no genuine dispute as to any material fact, and that the moving party is entitled to judgment as a matter of law. You don't need 1000x. A genuine dispute exists if the evidence is such that a reasonable jury could return a verdict for the non-moving party. And this is page 10 now. Wow, Six, thank you so much for the $20. Trading with J-Rod, you do not need 1000x, I guarantee it. Guarantee it. We've almost made as much money as we did in 2021, and look where we're at. I've got about $4,800 in, and I'm up over 12,400 currently, or 12,300. I mean, we're almost talking what we were at in 2021 already, and XRP's not even over 75 cents. But Six, thank you so much for the $20. I don't even know what to say. Don't even know what to say. Everybody's hard-earned money. I just don't know what to say. I think that's a smart move with the 2008 bar. We've got 2 more weeks of FOMO Fridays, remember, until we fulfill the 10,000 tokens. So I hope to see you there on Friday during the live. And that goes for everybody. So the moving party initially bears the burden of demonstrating the absence of a genuine dispute of material fact by citing evidence in the record. And Crypto Scrooge is down there. Go watch his channel. He's bearing down on 500 subscribers. He's homegrown in this community. And he talks a lot about Solo. I seen a beautiful quorum update by him as well before it started moving. He talked about if it broke out of a formation that we'd start pumping, and sure as shit, started moving. So if you like Solo, quorum, or even XRP, he talks about the connections as well. If the moving party meets its initial burden, the burden then shifts to the opposing party to establish a genuine dispute of material fact. PepsiCo Inc. In doing so, the non-moving party may not rely on conclusory allegations or unsubstantiated speculation. Scotto v. Almanis, as unsupported allegations do not create a material issue of fact. Weinstock v. Columbia University. B. Section 5 liability in the Howey test. Under Section 5 of the Securities Act from the Stone Age, it is unlawful for any person directly or indirectly to offer to sell, offer to buy or purchase or sell a security unless a registration statement is in effect or has been filed with the SEC as to the offer and sale of such security for the public. No problem, Crypto Solo Scrooge. And that's his name on YouTube. You'll see that. That's why I always call him it. To prove a violation of Section 5, the SEC must show that no registration statement was filed or in effect as to transaction, and 2, that the defendant directly or indirectly offered to sell or sold the securities through interstate commerce. See SEC versus Kavanaugh. Defendants do not dispute that they offered to sell and sold XRP through interstate commerce. Ooh, we got through the rough parts, ladies and gentlemen. How many people stuck it through? 45. All right. 34 likes. Make sure to hit that like button. Give YouTube a reason to pass this through the algorithm so we can get more and more people that like XRP in here. We're going to be here a while, folks. But now we're getting to the juicy stuff. And like I said, I'm going to find a way to get you the information. I'm not just the charts. I'm going to give you everything you need to know in the truth. Defendants do not dispute that they offered to sell and sold XRP through interstate. I'm reading this again. Interstate commerce. No problem, Mark. No problem at all. XRP. All right, let me read this again. Defendants do not dispute that they offered to sell and sold XRP through interstate commerce. They also do not dispute that they did not file a registration statement with the SEC for any offer or sale of XRP, you dumb son of a... That's what I'm talking about. Don't give them stones to throw at you. Don't give them the ability to cast the first stone. They should have learned their lesson from the XRP2 stuff. The question before the court is whether defendants offered to sell or sold XRP as a security. Specifically, the SEC alleges that defendants sold XRP as an investment contract, which is a type of security as defined by the Securities Act. Blah, 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 blah. I argue, on the other hand, if I was their attorney, that it's not a security, so to say, because it's not an investment contract, because what we're trying to do is buy XRP in case we go to China. For me personally, I go to the UK to visit my friends that are watching me. I need to send the money over there and not the old standard of Western Union when I can get my money in 2 weeks with a $72 fee. I need to send it there now, exchange it on my wallet, cash it out of the exchange, go to the, get the money out, and then I can use it in yuan or whatever. I might even be in Japan, I don't know. But you get what I'm saying? So how is it a security or an investment contract? If money's a security, well, it's not even currency. This is money. You know why? Because currency you can only use in your own borders. So they can even stop with that. I've heard people say that. It's just like a dollar. No, it's not. It's not. That's bullshit. Because I can't take the dollar to Canada and use it. I can't try to use the peso in America. Try to use the... I'm just saying. So with my XRP, I can use it in Canada. I'll just sell it out and it'll automatically convert it into that native currency. That's money. That's money. That's like gold and silver. Is gold and silver a fucking security? I don't think so. Is it an investment contract? Between you and God, because it's God's money. You know what you're buying. I mean, come on. Sean Crothers, welcome him, a Maine man from Maine. How's the fishing going out there lately, my friend? All right, let's get back to this. Defendants argue that they did not sell XRP as an investment contract, and therefore no registration statement was required. In SEC v. W.J. Howie Co., the Supreme Court held that under the Securities Act, an investment contract is a contract transaction or scheme whereby a person invests his money in a common enterprise and is to expect profits solely from the efforts of the promoter or third party. See also SEC for Edwards. In analyzing whether a contract transaction or scheme is an investment contract form should be disregarded for substance, and the emphasis should be on economic reality, the totality of the circumstance. G. Turpinin v. Knight. Glen Arden Commodities Inc. v. Constantino. And look, 1967 and 1974. How does that relate when there was no internet? How can this possibly have anything to do with a digital asset? That's what I'm saying. Like, this is like showing a caveman a tablet. What the hell is that? I just learned, like this. I've been living in a cave. I'm not even going to go into it. So, defendants' essential ingredients test. In their summary judgment, briefing defendants advance a novel essential ingredients test, arguing that in addition to the Howey test, all investment contracts must contain 3 essential ingredients. A contract between a promoter and an investor that establishes the investor's right as to an investment, which contract impose, and what's wrong with an investment? I'm investing into XRP as an investment, not because I think I'm going to make easy money. The investor's right as to an investment, which contract impose post-sale obligations on the promoter to take specific action for the investor's benefit, and grants the investor a right to share in profits for the promoter's effort to generate a return on the use of investor funds. The court declines to adopt defendant's essential ingredients test, which would call for the court to read beyond the plain words of Howey and impose additional requirements not mandated by the Supreme Court. The court sees no reason to do so. Neither Howey nor its progeny hold that an investment contract requires the existence of defendant's essential. You're bullish on HBAR and Casper, you should be. Casper could have a little more consolidation, but it's getting ready. So is HBAR. They're in time. I think by the end of August with Casper, something big is about to happen. That's why we got to get through the next 2 weeks of HBAR buys to get to 10,000 tokens, and it's right to Casper. Right to Casper. Ingredients to the contrary of these cases make clear that the relevant test reflects a focus on an investor's expectations of profits from the efforts of others rather than the formal imposition of post-sale obligations on the promoter of the grant to an investor of right to share in profits. Howie, the Supreme Court's use of the word profits and Howie was intended to refer to income or return, and financial returns on investments are not equivalent to post-sale obligations or profit sharing. Thus, the court is not persuaded that precedent supports the consideration of these ingredients in determining whether a contract, transaction, or scheme constitutes an investment contract. Under Howie, defendants do not cite a single case that has applied their test. Rather, defendants contend that the court should look to pre-1933 state blue sky law cases on which the Howie court relied. According to defendants, every pre-1933 blue sky investment contract case involved a contract, post-sale obligations on the promoter, and the investment right to receive a profit. 1933. Because that has a lot of relevance to 2023. I mean, that may be so, but the Howie court relied on the state court's definition of investment contract as a contract or scheme for the placing of capital or laying out of money in a way intended to secure income or profit from its employment. When fashioning the relevant test, quotation marks and citation omitted, had the Supreme Court intended to incorporate these ingredients as essential requirements, it would have done so. In any event, even accepting defendant's survey and analysis of the case law as accurate, the fact that pre-1933 investment contract cases shared some common features does not convert those common features into requirements necessary for finding an investment contract under Howie. Rather, the Supreme Court was guided by the fundamental purpose undergirding the Securities Acts, in which Congress painted with a broad brush in recognition of the virtually limitless scope of human ingenuity. Reeves v. Ernest and Young, 1990. So too must this court be guided indeed in the more than 75 years of securities. Oh, 1990, that's a good year. That's the year of my elementary, because I was in, like, I don't know, second or third grade. We finally got computers. I believe it was. Maybe it was even a year after that. So too must this court be guided indeed in the more than 75 years of securities law. And I know you all remember, you used to throw the paper airplane around and it would, or you'd play Oregon Trail securities, or you'd type and try to learn law jurisprudence after Howie courts have found the existence of an investment contract, even in the absence of defendants, essential ingredients, including in recent digital asset cases in the district. Kirk Interactive Inc., Balestra, coins did not entitle purchasers to a pro rata share of the profits derived from any ATB managed transaction. However, such a formalized profit sharing mechanism is not required, and this makes sense given that the Howie test was intended to embody a flexible rather than a static principle, one that is capable of adaptation to meet the countless and variable schemes devised by those who would seek the use of the money of others on the premise of profits. Put differently, the Howie test was intended to effectuate the statutory policy of affording broad protection to investors, protection that is not to be thwarted by unrealistic and irrelevant formulae. Accordingly, the court rejects defendant's argument that all investment contracts must include post-sale obligations on the promoter and grant the investor a right to share in profits from the promoter's efforts. The court what did I do? What did I do? Oh, the court does not reach defendant's first essential ingredient, that a contract must exist for an investment contract to exist, as discussed in greater detail below. In each instance where defendants offered or sold XRP as an investment contract, a contract existed. The plain words of Howie make clear that an investment contract for purposes of the Securities Act means a contract, transaction, or scheme. Emphasis added, but the subject of a contract, transaction, or scheme is not necessarily a security on its face. Under Howie, the court analyzes the economic reality and totality of circumstances surrounding the offers and sales of underlying asset. You guys can read that. Glenn Arden. But Howie and its progeny have held that a variety of tangible and intangible assets can serve as the subject of an investment contract. See e.g. Howie Orange Groves, Glen Arden, Whiskey Cask Edwards, Payphones, Hawking v. Du Bois, Ninth Circuit in 1989. Again, I was 6 years old back then. I'll be 40 in December. Condemniums, Denied, 494 U.S., I don't know who that corporation is. In 1967, 10th Circuit with the Beavers, SCCV Telegram Group, Inc., that's SDNY 2020, digital tokens. In each of these cases, the subject of investment contract was a standalone commodity. Well, there, it's fine, it's a commodity, we're good. Have a good day. Let the chief, let the commodity office deal with it then, just like with precious metals, which was not itself inherently an investment contract. For instance, if the original citrus groves in Howie were later resold, those resales may or may not constitute investment contracts, depending on the totality of circumstances surrounding the later transactions. Here, defendants argue that XRP does not have the character and commerce of a security and is akin to other ordinary assets like gold, silver, and sugar. Huh. Interesting. This argument misses the point because ordinary assets like gold, silver, and sugar may be sold as investment contracts depending on the circumstances of those sales. I mean, kind of bullshit. That's kind of bullshit. If you're not buying the precious metal, then you can call it whatever you want, but it's not the actual precious metal. I'm not making an investment contract. I buy it, I get it. It's mine. There's no contract. That's mine. The only contract is when I pay the money for them to sell me it. We have an agreement, but it's not like I'm buying it from them and I'm investing in it and they're guaranteeing me it's going to go up. That would be asinine. This whole thing is asinine. $34 people sticking this out, 44 likes. I appreciate everybody hitting the like button as they were going out. Plenty of items that are 11th Circuit 2021, plenty of items that can be consumed or used have been subject of the transactions determined to be securities. Trying to push this out because the sun is over here a little bit. Have been subject of transactions determined to be securities because they had... David, welcome in, my friend. Jamal, I agree, get some H-bar. I appreciate that, Crypto Scrooge. Yep, sometimes you got to do the deep dive. Determined to be securities because they had the attributes of an investment, citation omitted. Even if XRP exhibits certain characteristics of a commodity or a currency, it may nonetheless be offered or sold as investment contracts. It's my hope that 500 people will actually watch this, and it'll at least influence 500 people. I know it's not going to get 2,000-3,000 views or 1,000 views, but if 500 people watch this, it would make my freaking day. As another court in this district recently held, because that means that you guys would understand what's going on. And like for me, I might not want to read through all of this, but reading it to you guys, I'm forced to do it. And you might not want to read it yourself, but listening to me do it, it's easier to digest. You don't have to actually read it, but you can read it and go along as I'm reading it. While helpful as a shorthand reference, the security in this case is not simply the digital token. The gram, which is little more than alphanumeric cryptographic sequence. This case presents a scheme to be evaluated under Howie. That consists of the full set of contracts, expectations, and understanding, centered at the sale and distribution of the gram Howie requires. We're getting out of the sun there. An examination of the entirety of the parties, understanding and expectation. XRP as a digital token is not, and of itself, a contract, transaction, or scheme that embodies the Howie requirements of an investment contract. Rather, the court examines the totality of circumstances surrounding defendants, different transactions, and schemes involving the sale and distribution of XRP. Each transaction must be analyzed and evaluated on the basis of the content of the instruments in the question, the purpose intended to be served, and the factual setting as a whole. Defendants offers and sales of XRP. The parties cross-move for summary judgment on the SEC's claim under Section 5 of the Securities Act. Whether defendants offered or sold investment contracts is a legal question that the court resolves based on the undisputed record. CSC versus Thompson, blah, blah, blah. The SC alleges that Ripple engages in 3 categories of unregistered XRP offers and sales. 1, institutional sales under written contracts for which is to receive $728 million. Programmatic sales. 2, on digital asset exchanges for which it received $757 million. And 3, other distributions under written contracts for which it recorded $609 million in consideration other than cash. CSCC reply at 4-5 ECF number 843. The SEC also alleges that Larson & Garlinghouse engaged in unregistered individual XRP sales from which they received at least $450 million and $150 retrospectively. The court shall separately analyze and evaluate each category of transactions. 1, institutional sale. The court first addresses Ripple institution sale of XRP to be sophisticated individuals and entities, the institutional buyers pursuant to written contracts. The SEC alleges that these institutional sales were distributions of XRP into public markets through conduits and that some institutional buyers were buying XRP as a brokers while others simply resold it as part of their trading strategy. The first prong of Howey examines whether an investment of money was part of the relevant transaction. Here the institutional buyer invested money by not dispute that Ripple received money for XRP through its institutional sales. Different from merely payment for money. Hold on one sec. Sorry about that. I hope that didn't just end everything. Shit. Did I just end everything on accident? That would suck. Are we still here or not? I don't know. If somebody could respond and tell me if you could see me, that would be great. The first prong of Howey examines whether an investment of money was part of the relevant transaction. Here the institution, okay, awesome, thank God. Examines whether an investment of money was part of the relevant transaction. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Crypto Scrooge. OMC, I greatly appreciate that. Thank you, XRP Broska. Stanley, welcome in as well, everybody. The silent viewers, I appreciate that. Jamal, thank you so much. Providing fiat or other crypto, here the institutional buyers invested money by providing fiat or other currency in exchange for XRP. Defendants do not dispute that Ripple received money for XRP through its institutional sales. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate that, my friend. For XRP. Appreciate that, Pyre. I really appreciate that. Investment of money is different from merely payment of money. That is how he requires not just payment of money, but an intent to invest that money. Not so. Defendant's purported distinction is not supported by case law. The proper inquiry is whether the institutional buyer provided the capital, put up their money. And I'm not reading all that stuff because just in the interest of time. Defendants do not dispute that there was a payment of money. The court finds, therefore, that this element has been established. The second prong of how the existence of a common enterprise may be demonstrated through a showing of horizontal commonality. Second Circuit 1994. Horizontal commonality exists where the investor's assets are pooled and the fortunes of each investor are tied to the fortunes of other investors as well as to succeed of the overall enterprise. Horizontal commonality is a type of commonality that involves the pooling of assets from multiple investors so that all share in the profits and risks of the enterprise. Here, the undisputed record shows the existence of horizontal commonality. Ripple pooled the proceeds of an institutional sales into a network of banks. Ooh, I probably set this like this. You might not be able to see me as good. Where was it at? Network of bank accounts under the names of its various subsidiaries. Although Ripple maintained separate bank accounts for each subsidiary, Ripple controlled all of the accounts and used the funds raised from the institutional sales to finance its operations. Typically what a business does. Defendants do not dispute that Ripple did not segregate and separately manage investor funds or allow for the profits to remain independent. And Ripple accountants recorded all of the XRP-related proceeds together. Further, each institutional buyer's ability to profit was tied to Ripple's fortunes and fortunes of other institutional buyers because all institutional buyers receive the same fungible XRP. That's like saying my gold can only go up based on how many other people are buying and selling the gold. I mean, are you kidding me? That's how it works. You have short sales, and then you have the people that are seeing a future product. The short sales are to fund projects. That's the whole point of the short sales. You want people to come in and out for capital, for liquidity. But you need the people who like your project in the long term that'll hold on through the thick and thin. Once they find their hold, their stronghold. That's the truth. Ripple used the funds it received from its institutional sales to promote and increase the value of XRP by developing uses for XRP and protecting the XRP trading market. When the value of XRP rose, welcome in, Jose. I appreciate that. Watch, recycle, repeat. Watch content, recycle to friends and family, and come back and watch the next update and or live. XRP and protecting the XRP trading market. When the value of XRP rose, all institutional buyers profited in proportion to their XRP holdings. The success of the ecosystem drove demand for the digital token, and thus dictated investor profits. Finding horizontal commonality where the digital token purchasers possess an identical instrument, the value of which is entirely dependent on the success of or failure of the TON blockchain, and the investors' fortunes are directly tied to the success of TON blockchain as a whole. The court finds the existence of a common enterprise between the record demonstrates that there was a pooling of assets, that the fortunes of the institutional buyers were tied to the success of the enterprise, as well as the success of the other institutional. I mean, are you kidding me? If you're an institutional investor and the project goes bad, you're not going to succeed. You're investing because you are believing in something is going to succeed and transcend something, or it's going to help with something going forward. I don't understand. What's wrong with that? The third prong of how we examine whether the economic reality surrounding Ripple's institutional sales led the institutional buyers to have a reasonable expectation of profits to be derived from entrepreneur or managerial efforts or others. In this context, profit means an income or return to include, for example, dividends, other periodic payments, or the increased value of the investment. The reasonable expectation of profits from the efforts of others need not to be sole reason a purchaser buys an investment in an asset. I know Crypto Screw is absolutely ridiculous. 38 people here, 49 likes. I appreciate you tuning in for the last 51 minutes. We still got a long ways to go. And this is all we're covering in this live, as you can tell, because, you know, what can I say? I'm going to be talking for a hell of a long time. May be sold for both consumptive and speculative uses. Moreover, the inquiry is an objective one focusing on the promises and offers made to investors. It is not a search for the precise motivation of each individual participation. Based on the totality of circumstances, the court defines that reasonable investors situated in the position of institutional buyers. Now for me, I appreciate that, Kyle. I don't remember, is this Cape Cod, Kyle? I can't remember. I always get two of you confused. This just makes me want to hold even longer now. Screw the SEC. From Ripple's communications, marketing campaign, and the nature of the institutional sales, reasonable investors, nope, I can't say that because that'd make me an emotional investor. Scratch that from the record. Positivity. Awesome, Kyle. See, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Reasonable investors would understand that Ripple would use the capital received from its institutional sales to improve the market for XRP and develop use for XRP ledger, thereby increasing the value of XRP. That's what I just was stating, and I'm a reasonable investor. Starting in 2013, Ripple marketed XRP to potential investors, including institutional buyers, by distributing promotional brochures that touted XRP as an investment tied to the company's success. For instance, in the deep dive brochure, which was circulated to prospective investors, Ripple explains that its business model is predicated on a belief that demand for XRP will increase if Ripple protocol becomes widely adapted, and if the Ripple protocol becomes the backbone of global value transfer. Ripple expects the demand for XRP to be considerable. Similarly, the Ripple primer states that Ripple hopes to make money from the XRP if the world finds the Ripple network useful. The Gateways brochure also explains that Ripple's business model is based on the success of XRP and includes graphical representation of Bitcoin's price change below the text. So page 20 here. Currency rally, create, and hold value. Bitcoin proves it can. Later, through its XRP market reports, Ripple continued to connect XRP's price and trading to its own efforts. Ripple's Q1 XRP markets report states that the company's efforts, including its vocal commitment to XRP, the announcement of new business relationships, and continuing to sign up banks to commercially deploy its enterprise blockchain solution and join its global payments network, may have had an impact on XRP's price increase and impressive trading volume. The Q2 2017 XRP Markets Report highlights XRP's dramatic and stunning price increase and notes that the market responded favorably to Ripple's escrow and decentralization announcement. Similarly, Ripple's Q1 2020 XRP Markets report states that XRP's liquidity was bolstered through new use case for XRP outside of cross-border payments. It's what I've been saying all along. Don't own it because of cross-border payments. That's a dime a dozen. There's so much more to it, including the Ripple Protocol Consensus Algorithm, RPCA. Look it up. During this time, Ripple senior leaders echoed similar statements on various public channels. In a February 2014 interview, Larson said for Ripple, to do well, we have to do a very good job in protecting the value of XRP and the value of the network, and asked potential investors to give Ripple time. It depends. Depends where you're buying it. Depends what your plan is. For me, I'm not selling my XRP, but I bought it at 34.6, and I have a plan to buy more every time it goes 20% lower. That simple. Ripple's interest closely, but yes, not perfectly aligned with those of the other XRP holders. In February 2018, Schwartz posted on Reddit that what really sets XRP apart from any other digital asset. Tomorrow during the live, everybody, we're going to be talking about if you don't own XRP, where is the best spot to buy? So please tune in tomorrow because it's going to be a lit one, including any news I find. In February 2018, Schwartz posted on Reddit that was really set XRP apart from any other digital asset is the amazing team of dedicated professionals Ripple has managed to amass to develop an ecosystem around XRP. In a December 2017 interview, Garlinghouse stated that the XRP gave Ripple a huge strategic asset to go invest in and accelerate the vision it sees for Internet of Value. And in the March 2018, Garlinghouse said at a press conference, here, let's move over here. I don't know. Okay, bye. You're going to have to be positive. I'm trying to cover this. You can look at all my previous content to get all those answers and more. Just look at my update today. If this doesn't interest you, I can't answer that question for you. I'm not a financial advisor. You should be watching this and make a decision for yourself if it's worth it to buy at 74 cents. You can't possibly make that decision if you don't go and bet this up. That's the bottom line. To go invest in and accelerate the vision. I've been doing this since 2021 every day on YouTube. Every day since 21. I think it's worth holding, big time. In March 2018, Garlinghouse said at a press conference that Ripple is very, very interested in the success and the health of the ecosystem and will continue to invest in the ecosystem. Ripple and its senior leader publicly emphasized the complexity of creating an Internet of Value and the need for extensive capital to solve this trillion-dollar problem. And look where we're at now in our economy. For instance, in October 2017, Garlinghouse declared in a YouTube video, I have no qualms saying definitively if we continue to drive the success we're driving, we're going to drive a massive amount of demand for XRP because we're solving a multi-trillion-dollar problem. In 2017 of July, Schwartz wrote on Reddit that Ripple can justify spending $100 million on a project if it could reasonably be expected to increase the price of XRP by 1 penny over the long term. In November 2017, Schwartz posted on XRP chat that Ripple would use its war chest to put upward pressure on XRP's price. These statements and many more are representative of Ripple's overall messaging on the institutional buyers about the investment potential of XRP and its relationship to defend its efforts. That you don't really want to do because you don't want to make them think you're institutional or insider trading, but you know, it is what it is. They all do it. Clearly, the institutional buyers would have understood that Ripple was pitching a speculative value proposition. That's the truth. But you don't want to give them any bones to pick. For XRP, with potential profits to derive from the Ripple's entrepreneurial and managerial efforts. Further, the nature of the institutional sales also supports the conclusion that Ripple sold XRP as investment rather than for consumptive use in their sales contracts. Some institutional buyers agreed Buyers agree to lockup provisions or resale restrictions based on XRP's trading volume. These restrictions are inconsistent with the notion that XRP was used as a currency or for some other consumptive use. Simply put, distribute and not to use XRP. Simply put, rational economic actor would not agree to freeze millions of dollars if the purchaser's intent was to obtain a substitute for fiat currency. Certain institutional sales contracts require the institutional buyers to indemnify Ripple for claims arising out of the sale or distribution of XRP, and other contracts expressly stated that institutional buyers would purchase XRP solely to resell or otherwise distribute. So if they're stating that there would be an issue with it if they were just doing it for changing out currencies, it's every other freaking crypto. It's what every other crypto can make their claim on. So that's cross borders. So is there a problem with Swift? With their Swift GPI? I mean, let's not be... I'm just saying. And not to the use XRP as an end user or for any other purpose. These various provisions in the institutional sales contract support the conclusion that the parties did not view the XRP sale as a sale of a commodity or a currency. Julie, when you go inside, could you bring me a water? Okay.
Do you need one now?
Once you go back inside. I'm trying to get through a 34-page thing from what they brought out July 13. And not to use XRP as an end user or for any other purpose. These various provisions in the institutional sales contract support the conclusion that the parties did not view the XRP sale as a sale of a commodity or currency. They understood the sale of XRP to be an investment in the Ripple's efforts. Therefore, having considered the economic reality and totality of circumstances surrounding the institutional sales, the court concludes that Ripple institutional sales of XRP constitute the unregistered offer and sale of investment contracts in violation of Section 5 of the Securities Act. So that's what I've been talking about this. So this is not news to us. I reported both sides of this. For us, the retail investor, it's not a security. For institutional investors, it is. Cobb, get ready to see me liking and commenting on all your videos. How I've been half in, half out of the game for a while. What's the rest of it? Let me get that pulled back up. I wasn't looking at my phone for a while, but now I have to. For a while, but this recent development with the lawsuit has me all in it. Absolutely. Digital orgy, VC, and hedge funds are going to have to buy on the open market just like we do, not OTC. Yep, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know, that's kind of what we want. But in a way, you know, whatever. As long as they can buy, this is, to me, a nothing burger because we already knew they were going to go after one side. We needed the retail side to go through initially. It proves to you that retail can push this in a way. 2, programmatic sales. The court next addresses Ripple's programmatic sales, which occurred under different circumstances from the institutional sales. The SC alleges that in the programmatic sales to public buyers, programmatic buyers on digital asset exchanges, Ripple understood that people were speculating on XRP as an investment, targeted speculators, and made increased speculative volume a target goal. That should be. The shoe is absolutely on the other foot now. So having considered the economic reality of the programmatic sales, the court concludes that the undisputed record does not establish the third Howie prong, whereas the institutional buyers reasonably expected that Ripple would use the capital it received from its sales to improve the XRP ecosystem and thereby increase the price of XRP. Programmatic buyers could not reasonably expect the same. Indeed, Ripple's programmatic sales were blind bid-ask transactions, and programmatic buyers could not have known that their payment of money went to Ripple or any other seller of XRP. Since 2017, Ripple's programmatic sales represented less than 1% of the global XRP trading volume. Therefore, the vast majority of individuals who purchase XRP from digital asset exchanges did not invest their money in Ripple at all. An institutional buyer knowingly purchased XRP directly from Ripple pursuant as a... You know, that's not technically and factually correct. What about what the exchanges are paying to list these certain tokens? So, you know, what's a better exchange in England using Revolt but fees too high? You can use Uphold, but the fees are just as high, I guarantee it. What I suggest, I would look into, and I will put it in the comments right now, FEMX. I found it not too long ago. I've got over 1,700 XRP total on FEMX that I believe it is now, that I sent over. And you don't need a VPN or anything. But I like it. If you're using a bank account or whatever, it's 0.9% for a credit card, or if you have a Visa or MasterCard. I don't know how it works in the UK, but I would look at FEMX, honestly. They didn't go down. Uphold goes down a lot too. I keep my stuff there mostly, 95% of it. But it did go down a lot during the big run and when it dumps a lot. This site never went down one time. Since 2017, Ripple's programmatic sales represented less than 1% of the global XRP trading volume. Therefore, the vast majority of individuals who purchased XRP from the digital asset exchange did not invest their money in Ripple at all. An institutional buyer knowingly purchased XRP directly from Ripple pursuant to a contract, but the economic reality is that the programmatic buyer stood in the same shoes as a secondary market purchaser who did not know to whom or what it was buying or paying its money. Further, it is not enough for the SEC to argue that Ripple... Yeah, but that's so false. You're investing in it to push the price up so that there's more capital. So every time that Ripple puts 1 billion tokens into circulating supply and they get eaten up, I mean, they're making more money on every time they put it into the market. That's how they make capital. This is such nonsense. It really is. If you understand how it works in the economy, how it actually works, this is nonsense. This should not sway you at all. Hey, Darren, what's up, mate? Thanks for the suggestion. Yeah, I don't know that exchange, but give it a shot. Darren's been around for a long time, and I trust his word. Further, it is not enough for the SEC to argue that Ripple explicitly targeted speculators or that Ripple understood that people were speculating on XRP as an investment. Yeah, FEMX, Sean. No, they do not. That's the problem. They don't have IOTA. I don't believe they have IOTA. Let me check on my phone. Let me get through this page real quick. Thank you, Julie. As an investment contract, within the meaning of the Securities Act, anyone who buys or sells, for example, a horse or an automobile, hopes to realize a profit. I don't know. Or get from point A to point B. You're expecting something in return. I'm not investing to lose money. Profitable investment. So let me just check to make sure. I don't think it's on there. I'll be honest. I would have flipped out if it was on there. They do have IOTA? Are you serious? I don't remember them. Because in the USA it never shows up. Because Uphold has it, but we can't buy it in the USA. Oh, damn. Yeah, I don't think they have IOTA. No, they don't. We can get algo on Uphold, and we can also get... Yeah, they have... I believe they have algo. I don't think they have it in USDC, though. I would get algo probably... Let me check. No, I would get algo. They only have it at the 5x level. I would get algo on Uphold, honestly, and just pay the fee, unless you can find somewhere else in the USA. So let's continue. Profitable investment, but the expected return is not contingent upon the continuing efforts of another. The relevant inquiry is whether the speculative motive derived from the entrepreneurial or managerial efforts of others. Performance 421, blah, blah, blah. It may certainly be the case that many programmatic buyers purchased XRP with an expectation of profit, but they did not derive that expectation from Ripple's effort. Hey, JW, welcome in. Yes, we're on page 24 of 34. A lot of what you would expect, a lot of nonsense. Particularly because none of the programmatic buyers were aware that they were buying XRP from Ripple. Of course, some programmatic buyers may have purchased XRP with the expectation of profits to be derived from Ripple's efforts. However, the inquiry is an objective one, focusing on the promises and offers made to investors. It is not a search for the precise motivation of an individual participant. Here, the record establishes that with respect to programmatic sales, Ripple did not make any promises or offers because Ripple did not know who was buying the XRP, and the purchasers did not know who was selling it. In fact, many programmatic buyers were entirely unaware of Ripple's existence, and that's the truth. That's the funny thing of this. Everybody buying XRP most of the people, until they started listening to me, or most of them who came into my audience, didn't even know Ripple and XRP were separate entities. To this day, most people think they're the same thing. That's why when I say Ripple versus XRP lawsuit, I say Ripple, and then I put XRP next to it, an asterisk. You might as well put XLM next to it too, because it runs lockstep. Think about it. XRP ran 93% a couple days ago. XLM was up 110. 110%. The programmatic sale also lacked other factors present in the economic reality of the institutional sales. That's why I keep a hard look on XDC, hint, hint, wink, wink, which cut in favor of finding a reasonable expectation of profits to be derived from the entrepreneurial or managerial efforts of others. For instance, the programmatic sales were not made pursuant to contracts that contain lockup provisions, resale restrictions, indemnification clauses, or statements of purpose. Similarly, Ripple's promotional materials, such as the Ripple Primer and the Gateways brochure, were widely circulated amongst potential investors like the institutional buyers, but there is no evidence that these documents were distributed more broadly to the general public, such as XRP purchasers on digital asset exchanges, nor is there evidence that programmatic buyers understood that statements made by Larson, Schwartz, and Garlinghouse and others were representation of Ripple in its efforts. Lastly, the institutional buyers were sophisticated entities and included institutional investors and hedge funds. An examination of the entirety of the parties' understandings and expectations, including the full set of contracts. It is going to be very interesting, digital orgy, in the next couple weeks. I totally agree. I think this week's going to be very interesting. Look into the UK Bitcoin ETF announcement. And then this weekend, behind closed doors, behind the scenes kind of, the SEC approved to push forward the Bitcoin ETF here. Now it's got to go through a bunch of nonsense. Including the full set of contract expectations and understanding centered on the sale and distribution of XRP supports the conclusion that a reasonable investor situated in the position of institutional buyers would have been aware of Ripple's marketing campaign and publicly statements connecting XRP's price to its own efforts. There is no evidence that a reasonable programmatic... Hey, BAM's no problem, my friend. Hey, you typed eBay, essential buying anatomy for the year 2023. I don't know, but it's fine. You pushed me through the algorithm now. I appreciate it. There is no evidence that a reasonable programmatic buyer who was generally less sophisticated as an investor shared similar understanding and expectations and could parse through the multiple documents and statements that the SEC... Oh yeah, and BAM, be careful, like Digital Orgy said. Say a prayer for BAM. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Which includes statements across many social media platforms and news sites from a variety of Ripple speakers with different levels of authority over an extended 8-year period. Therefore, having considered the economic reality and totality of circumstances, the court concludes that Ripple's programmatic sales of XRP did not constitute the offer and sale of investment contracts. See? So programmatic sales does not constitute an investment contract. 3, distribution. The SEC's last category of XRP offers and sales are other distributions under written contracts for which Ripple recorded $609 million in consideration, other than cash. In its audited financial statements, SEC reply at 5. These other distributions include distribution to employees as compensation and to third parties as part of Ripple's Xspring initiative to develop new applications for XRP and XRP Ledger. Exactly. Hey, Mr. George Jamal. Hey, Mr. George. How much you pay for? You know, how much they're paying for these guys? The XP and XRP Ledger. The XRP, or the SEC alleges that Ripple funded its projects by transferring XRP to third parties and then having them sell the XRP into public markets. Yes, obviously, that's what happens when you unload it off of, I don't know, the 1 billion XRP that gets put into circulation each month. That goes out of their hand into a third party to sell. I mean, come on. This is unbelievably asinine. The other distributions do not satisfy Howie's first prong, that there be an investment of money as part of the transaction or scheme. See, they keep referring it to money. Like I said, it's not currency, it's money. Listen to the key wording. They're not saying currency, they're saying money. That means they're attributing it, and they've already said commodity in this. Money, commodity. They're kind of trying to say it's like gold, silver. So shouldn't it be dictated by the Commodities and Exchange Commission, not by the SEC, not by Gary Gensler, but the head of the commodities market? I rest my case. The purchaser gave up some tangible and definable consideration in return for an interest. And nobody probably heard this. 29 people. 29 people heard it. That's all that matters. 58 likes. I know it's been an hour and 15 minutes and nobody wants to watch this. But hopefully we get 500 total views on this. You know, when it gets released. That's all I want. I want 500 people to be informed. Let's see. How it requires a showing that the investors provide the capital. In every case, finding an investment contract, the purchaser gave up tangible and definable consideration in return for an interest that had substantially the characteristics of a security. Here the record shows that recipient, and it says though, not all, like what we've seen documents where it said that it doesn't necessarily constitute a security, even if it says it's not all securities are treated equal, as we want to say, which is another line of nonsense. To the contrary, Ripple paid XRP to these employees and companies, and as a factual, oh, so you mean like if you buy or you work at Ford and they give you shares because they're giving you a part ownership? That's what you want. You're working for the company. They're putting, don't you want to have belief in what, don't you want to have a part of what you believe in and own it? And because you work for it, isn't it nice if they believe in you by bonuses or whatever? I mean, this is just ridiculous. Having them sell the XRP or XRP to third parties and then having them sell XRP, because Ripple never received the payments from these XRP distributions. In its opposition papers, the SEC pivots and argues instead that the other distributions were an indirect public offering because the parties that received XRP from Ripple, such as Xpring, recipient could transfer their XRP in exchange for units of other currency, goods, or services to another holder. Oh my God. I mean, that's what happens. You sell it, and if I want to buy gold, I'll buy it. If I need to buy groceries, I'll sell, I'll get some currency. I'll sell my money to get currency. That's how it works. But the SEC does not elsewhere allege that the recipients of these other distributions, like Ripple employees and Xpring third-party companies, were Ripple's underwriters. In any event, the SEC does not develop the argument that these secondary market sales were offers or sales of investment contracts, particularly where the payment of money for these XRP sales never traced back to Ripple, and the court cannot make such a finding. Therefore, having considered the economic reality and totality of circumstances, the court concludes that Ripple's other distributions did not constitute the offer and sale of investment contracts. 4. Larson's and Garlinghouse's offer and sales. Lastly, the court addressed Larson and Garlinghouse's offers and sales of XRP. Section 4 of the Securities Act exempts transactions by any persona or person other than an issuer, underwriter, or dealer. The SEC argues that this exemption does not apply to Larson and Garlinghouse because they are affiliates of Ripple and an affiliate of the issuer, such as officer, director, or controlling shareholder, ordinarily may not rely upon the Section 4 exemption. Kavanaugh cleaned up. The court need not reach this issue. Like Ripple's programmatic sales, Larson and Garlinghouse XP sales were programmatic sales on various digital asset exchanges, though blind bid ask transactions. Larson and Garlinghouse did not know whom they sold XRP, and the buyers did not know the identity of the seller. Thus, as a matter of law, the record cannot establish the third Howey prong as to those transactions for substantially the same reasons discussed. This is so bullish, I can't even describe it. If somebody actually understood this, the problem is nobody's going to read through, and you see how they put this on page 27? It took us an hour and 18 minutes to get to this shit. I mean, seriously, do you know how bullish this is if somebody understood what we're reading right now? Every time they try to do something, there's a but, because they're not selling it directly to somebody. They're putting it on the exchange, and they have no further contact than me or you, or no bigger connection. They can't just sell it they can't buy it from the institutions themselves. I mean, this is exactly what we want. This is extremely bullish. Who knows how to respond, but to me, there's no reason to ever sell it right now in the accumulation phase. The record cannot establish the third Howie prong as to these transactions for substantially the same reasons discussed above. Larson's, Garlinghouse's offer, and the sale of XRP on digital asset exchanges. We do have the script flip, baby. That's right, Digital Orgy. That's right. XRP on digital asset exchanges did not amount to offers and sales of investment contracts. 5. Defendants' due process defenses. Defendants each assert a fair notice defense. It does level the playing field, indeed. It sure does. Defendants each assert a fair notice defense claiming that the SEC violated their due process rights. Larson and Garlinghouse also assert as applied vagueness defense based on the same due process principles. A fundamental principle in our legal system is that laws which regulate persons or entities give fair notice of conduct that is forbidden or required. This clarity requirement is essential to the protection provided by the Due Process Clause of the Fifth Amendment and requires the invalidation of laws that are imperceptibly vague. And this is going directly into the SEC. Laws fail to comport with due process, then they fail to provide a person of ordinary intelligence fair notice of what is prohibited, or are so standardless that they authorize or encourage seriously discriminatory enforcement. This assessment cannot be conducted in the abstract. Rather, the party claiming a lack of notice must show that the statute in question provided insufficient notice that his or her behavior at issue was prohibited. The evaluation of any fair notice defense is objective. It does not require inquiry into whether a particular party actually received a warning that alerted him or her to the danger of being held to an account for behavior in question. Everybody, remember what we talked about in 2021 if you're still here? Anybody watching me right now? 36 people here. I'm blown away. I don't know how so many people are still watching. 61 likes. And I say that because it's been an hour and 21 minutes. But anybody who's been watching, remember I told you I'd teach you while this case was settling and I'd get you back in at the proper spot if you just trust me to sell at $1.66. I told you it broke my heart to sell XRP, and I told you to trust me for a year and a half in the up and downs. We have a 34.6 average, folks. When I came on, we were up 110%. We have no reason to sell. We have our bags packed and then some. I have almost twice as many XRP as I did the first time around, like probably 75% more. But we also have so many more things. I got you guys to buy XRP, XLM, XDC. Aren't you glad I keep talking about XLM? It had the only other one like XRP to move more than like 15-20%. XLM went 110% when XRP went 93%. They're locked in step. So now we've done it right. So now we have to, yes, Algorand is huge. Huge. The court rejects defendants' fair notice and vagueness defenses as to the institutional sales. First, the case. Oh, look. So the court rejects defendants' fair notice and vagueness defense as to the institutional sales, but we already knew that. They weren't going to allow the fair notice defense. First, the case law that defines an investment contract provides a person of ordinary intelligence a reasonable opportunity to understand what considered it, or what conduct it covers. Howey sets forth a clear test for determining what constitutes an investment contract, and Howey's progeny provides guidance on how to apply that test to a variety of factual scenarios. Is not only the language of statute that can provide the requisite fair notice. Judicial decisions interpreting that statute can do that card threw me off, can do as well. That it constitutionally sufficient to satisfy due process. The abundance of case law interpreting and applying Howey at all levels of the judiciary, as well as related guidance issued by the SEC as to scope of its regulatory authority and enforcement power, provided all the notice that it is constitutionally required. Guys, if you want to support my work and you appreciate what I do, and you appreciate the fact I don't do paid promotion, paid advertisements, paid sponsorships, you can always send a YouTube super chat, or I advise you join Tom's Army. I'd love to see everybody in here one day joining Tom's Army to show that support. Pay it forward. Second, the case law articulates sufficiently clear standards to eliminate the risk of arbitrary enforcement. Howey is an objective test that provides the flexibility necessary for the assessment of a wide range of contracts, transactions, and schemes. Defendants focus on the SEC's failure to issue guidance on digital assets and the inconsistent statements and approaches to regulating the sale of digital assets as investment contracts. But the SEC's approach to enforcement, at least as to institutional sales, is consistent with the enforcement actions that the agency has brought relating to the sale of other digital assets to buyers pursuant to written contracts and for the purpose of fundraising. So page 30 of 34, yes, we went through 30 pages, and I can't thank you enough to the 45 people that are in here. That seems impossible to me. Thank you so much for sticking around. Please hit that like button. As the 61 people have hit it, that's incredible. We have 44 brilliant minds out there. There is hope. Moreover, the law does not require the SEC to warn all potential violators on an individual or industry level. Courts ask whether the law presents an ordinary person with sufficient notice of the opportunity to understand what conduct is prohibited or proscribed, not whether a particular party actually received a warning that alerted him or her to the danger of being held to account for the behavior in question. Accordingly, the SEC's motion for summary judgment is granted as to institutional sales and otherwise denied, and defendant's motion for summary judgment is granted as to programmatic sales, the other distributions in Larson's and Garlinghouse sales, and denied as the institutional sales. So, accordingly, the SEC's motion for summary judgment is granted as to the institutional sales. So they're going to get a summary judgment. Granted as to the institutional sales and otherwise denied. So only to institutional sales. So defendant's motion for summary judgment is granted as to programmatic sales and the distribution and Larson's and Garlinghouse sales, and denied as the institutional sales. So the only thing we're going to move forward with is institutional sales. Programmatic sales are fine. It is what it is. C, Larson's and Garlinghouse is aiding and abetting of Ripple's. I told you that was nonsense when people were making a big deal about the programmatic sales. That's how we buy it. I don't understand, and they strictly explained why that's actually a good thing. C, Larson and Garlinghouse is aiding and abetting of Ripple's violations. SC also moves for summary judgment on aiding and abetting claim against Larson and Garlinghouse. To establish liability for aiding and abetting securities violation, SC must show 1, the existence of a securities law. I still have one. Good looking out, Kyle. Richard Williams, welcome in, my friend. 48 people watching, 62 likes. You guys have made my day, and the guys and gals. So, 1, the existence of securities law violation by the primary as opposed to the aiding and abetting party. 2, knowledge of this violation on the part of the aider and abetter. And 3, substantial assistance by the aider and abetter in the achievement of the primary violation. Courts cannot consider the 3 requirements in isolation from one another because satisfaction of the knowledge requirement will depend on the theory of primary and liability, and there may be a nexus between the degree of knowledge and the requirement that the alleged aider and abetter render substantial, what did that say? Substantial assistance. Indeed, courts have found that a high degree of substantial assistance may lessen SEC's burden in providing or proving scienter and vice versa. As to the first requirements, the court has already held that Ripple institutional sales constituted the unregistered offer and sale of investment contract violation of Section 5 of the Securities Act. And we already know this. I reported this on July 13th when we found out that Ripple or XRP was not an unregistered security when sold to retail, but I made it very clear that it was for institutional investors. But it shows you the power of retail. It shows you there's a lot of buzz. You want to be behind something that if it moves, it can move on all fronts. Social media, everywhere. It'll get the average Joe to buy. That's what we need along the way. They need the collateral. Don't let this fool you. Don't let anybody trick you out of it. With respect to the second requirement to show knowledge of Ripple's violations, the SEC must demonstrate Larson's and Garlinghouse's general awareness of their overall role in Ripple's illegal scheme. The SEC need not demonstrate Absolutely hit that like button. Mr. Tony Carter, welcome in. Hashtag mother's second choice. Hashtag M2C. Rather, the SEC must show that Larson and Garlinghouse knew or recklessly disregarded the facts that made Ripple's transactions and schemes illegal. Under statutory case law, based on the record, defendants have raised a genuine dispute of material fact as to whether Larson and Garlinghouse knew or recklessly disregarded the facts that made Ripple's scheme illegal. It is not clear whether Larson and Garlinghouse knew or recklessly disregarded that securities laws, rather than laws under the other regulatory regimes applied to XRP. For instance, Larson and Garlinghouse testified that they did not believe XRP was a security because multiple foreign regulators, including regulators in Japan, Singapore, Switzerland, the United Arab Emirates, and the United Kingdom, had determined that XRP was not a security. That's reasonable. That's a reasonable answer. The U.S. wouldn't tell them. Other countries have, every single country, there's so many countries that have stated it already. So what's wrong with this? This is beautiful. Larson and Garlinghouse also stated that when the U.S. Department of Justice and the U.S. Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network labeled XRP a virtual currency in 2015, they understood this as the official United States government declaration that XRP was a currency and exempt from the U.S. securities laws. They've called now XRP a security and money. Remember that. Remember that. In 2015, they said it was a currency and it was exempt from securities laws. Now they're trying to say in this lawsuit, that's why I kept pointing out the money. Now they're saying it's money in 2020, so you can't claim both sides of the fence when it's relevant to you. So I believe this in itself is very bullish for XRP. Just continue to listen. Notice it's in page 32 of 34, and it took us an hour and a half to get here. 51 people watching it. You know, that's absolutely spectacular. You guys all want to know the truth. You want to know the truth, and this is the truth. Larson further testified that he understood the 2018 speech by the then director of the SEC Division of Corporate Finance, Bill Hinman, in which he stated that neither Bitcoin nor Ether, another digital asset, were securities, to further reinforce the SEC's position that XRP was not a security. Yeah, so if it's not good for the goose, I mean, what's going on here? It's good for XRP. We all know about William Hinman, and we've all went through those documents. The October 2012 Perkins-Coie Memorandum, and I know we have because I've done it here just like this, which Larson reviewed advises, although we believe that a compelling argument can be made that XRP tokens do not constitute securities under the federal securities laws, given the lack of applicable case law. We believe that there is some risk, albeit small, that the SEC disagrees with our analysis. Larson testified that after receiving the memorandum, Ripple took specific steps to ensure compliance with the advice contained within the memorandum. And see, this was back in 2015, so there's been steps taken, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely, digital origin, I agree. Likewise, defendants have raised a genuine issue of material fact. As for the Larson and Garlinghouse knew or recklessly disregarded facts about each of the Howey elements. For example, defendants have adduced evidence that Larson and Garlinghouse did not know that Ripple's institutional sales of XRP satisfied the Howey's common enterprise element because they did not believe that the proceeds from the sales were pooled and understood that Ripple did not manage, operate, or control the XRP ledger or the broader XRP ecosystem. Based on the disputed facts and the record, therefore, a reasonable juror could find that Larson and Garlinghouse did not know or recklessly disregard Ripple's specified violations. I keep saying, if it goes to trial by jury for the institutional investors, the worst that'll happen is they pay for a fine. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. That's why I said this case can't be settled until September Q3, which it still can't. Or they won't say we're going to trial by jury for this part for the institutional investors until September. I firmly believe that after Q3. Sometime after Q3. As of the third requirement, defendants concede that Larson, as Ripple CEO prior to 2017, provided substantial assistance in Garlinghouse after becoming Ripple CEO in January 2017. Provided substantial assistance. However, Larson's claims that he did not provide substantial assistance during his time as executive chairman of Ripple's board starting in 2017. To satisfy the substantial assistance component of aiding and abetting, the SEC must show that the defendant in some sort associated himself and he sought by his action to make it succeed. In other words, the defendant must consciously assist the commission of the specific crime in some active way. Here, Larson has raised a tribal issue of material fact as to whether he provided substantial assistance beginning in 2017. The record establishes that starting in 2017, Larson moved away from a day-to-day operational role at Ripple But after he stepped down as CEO, Larson also continued his role as XRP Sales Committee, which approved Ripple's sale of XRP. The court concluded, therefore, that a reasonable juror could find that starting in 2017, Larson did not constantly assist Ripple's Section 5 violations in some active way. Accordingly, the SEC's motion for summary judgment on the aiding and abetting claim against Larson and Garlinghouse is denied. There you go. I mean, look, they put it at the end of page 33. This is so bullish, I can't even describe it. For anybody who stuck around to the last page, congratulations. We have 46 people here, 70 likes. For an hour and 34 minutes, you found out the truth. Nobody on YouTube can trick you. Nobody on social media can mess with your mind. Nobody from an outside source can tell you what it isn't. But if you stick around here, I'm going to tell you the truth. If you appreciate what I do, make sure you hit that like button. Consider subscribing, or consider sending a super chat, or joining Tom's Army to show support for my work. As you know, I do no paid promotions, no paid advertisements, or paid sponsorships. And if you're sitting here until the end, I'm about to read this, but make sure you find a way to buy XRP, and you want to do it the cheapest way, and then send it over to Uphold for day-to-day use. But this is the way on FEMX. I'm not going to go any deeper than that. I appreciate everybody. Kyle, JW, David, Digital Orgy. I appreciate you all for staying here for this entirety. For the foregoing reasons, the SEC's... So in conclusion, for the foregoing reasons, the SEC's motion for summary judgment is granted as to the institutional sales, as we already knew. We already knew this, and we already know it's going to Q3 or sometime in September. We knew this in 2021. And otherwise denied defendant's motion for summary judgment and granted as to programmatic sales. That is huge, huge. The other distributions in Larson's and Garlinghouse's sales, and denied as to institutional sales. The court shall issue a separate order setting a trial date and related trial deadlines in course. The clerk of court is directed to terminate the motions at ECF, NOS, blah, blah, blah. So look, we were right. We're going to trial, but we got thrown a bone. Programmatic sales, denied. And for retail, denied. So all we have to worry about in court is institutional sales, and I guarantee you the worst is going to be a fine. I guarantee it. If it's more than a fine, oh my God, they can't buy in the OTC market. Oh my goodness, they have to buy like us. It's a win-win for us as investors. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I can't thank you enough for tuning in. I got to go get some dinner. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please share the content.